I am Justin Prime. Sean, welcome to the interview.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, dude. All right, so the way I like to start off is just tell us who you are, what you're working on, and how you got there.
Okay. My name's Sean Miller. I am a Stockton, California native, and I'm working on, well, I actually just wrapped up my first professional comic book to be released by Action Lab Comics. It's called KID SHERLOCK, and it's a kid's book. Adults will like it too. It's funny. It's
Hmm.
cute.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. So that's a 4-issue series, and it'll be released in June of this year. And then I also work on my own self-published creator-owned book called The Original, which focuses on a golden age superhero and kind of see him through his different stages in life. So that's the one I'm currently working on, the final issue of that.
So the four.
I think I lost you there. You froze up. I missed your question.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, that's fine. I got you.
Okay. So the four issues for Action Lab, they're completely done already. Like on your end, they're all illustrated, ready
Everything's
to go.
done. They're illustrated, colored, lettered, formatted. They're ready for print. They're all ready to go.
So this will be actually like a monthly thing.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting to work on that project because, as a comic book consumer, you're always thinking like you just got one and the guy is drawing the next one as soon as you get this one.
Right. Right.
That's not how it works, actually. There's a couple ways of doing it. If you're really good and fast, you have like a maybe 2 or 3 month lead time.
Right.
But with Action Lab, the way that they publish it is they don't actually do any sort of marketing or anything until the whole series is finished and ready to go.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, neither did I. I thought that it was going to be like a monthly thing as I finished them. But it's actually to kind of cover their butts, like if the
Hmm.
artist gets sick or whatever, so there's no delay time. And because
Yeah.
it's they're only interested in publishing creator-owned stuff, it's not like there can be a fill-in artist to jump in at any time.
Right.
So it's not like Marvel or DC or anything like that. It's a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So how do you finish that completely? So are you jumping right back into the original?
Yeah, I've started on the last issue, but I did. Last year I did 5 comic books, so I did 4 issues of Kid Sherlock and an issue of the original, and it was a lot of work. And I'm kind of like on a little vacation right now. Like I haven't
Okay.
I haven't officially said like I'm not going to do anything, but I'm definitely working at a snail's pace because it's tiring. It's emotionally draining because you're up super late and it's just it's hard work. I enjoy it, but right now it's like, okay, I don't have any pressing deadlines or anything. Like I'm just gonna chill for a little bit.
Oh, okay. So are you focusing on like conventions then? Pushing Chris Sherlock?
Yeah. So Action Lab really wants us to kind of hit it hard as far as like the promotion goes for April, um, May, June, July, all the way up into October, because that's when the trade will come out. So I'm going to be doing as many conventions as it, my schedule will allow. Um,
Okay.
yeah, that picture right. Yeah, there you go. So that is going to be the print that we have at the conventions. It's a little promo print just to kind of build some enthusiasm for the book. So
All
we're going
right.
to be doing in-store signings, podcasts, conventions, you name it.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right. So that's Kid Sherlock. You got Watson here.
Yeah. Yeah. Watson's a talking dog in the story. He's pretty cool.
And this is the original.
Yeah. So that's page 1 of the last issue of the original.
The last issue?
Yeah. It's going to be the final issue. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And then that page, if you scroll up just a little bit, that one there with the mountain in the background. So that's a page, obviously not colored, but that's a page from the final issue, where he's tracking down an old arch enemy to kind of get some information from him.
Dude, your skill is it changed so much throughout the original.
Yeah.
Can you comment on that? I mean, you could just see just leaps and bounds like how you changed.
Well, if you go back up there to the where Watson is tugging on Sherlock's shirt up there.
Yeah.
Just that, for instance, like working on Kid Sherlock really taught me how to use body language and emotion.
Yeah.
You know, like the very first book that I did wasn't very good. Well, if you go to that colored, oh yeah, there's another one. The colored one up there, across from, yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see there's just little like body language things that kind of convey like a little sense of comedy, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The first issue I ever did was pretty bad just because I was so focused on whether or not I could draw. I wasn't paying attention to like emotion or pacing or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Of the original, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a huge difference. And I also noticed, obviously, like with the original, you got that golden age style going on. And with Kid Sherlock, it's almost like an animated kind of look.
Right. So there's a page right there to your right, I guess. Yeah, that one. So that's something I've been working on just whenever I get some downtime. It's for an anthology that I want to put out, called True Love, and it's just about basically that emotion, love, and what it can motivate people to do, whether good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been fun to work on. They're just little short stories. I was trying to get it done.
Yeah.
Trying to get it done by summer, but I don't know if I'll be able to get that done.
Very cool. So just talk about the difference in art style, though, between the two books, the original versus Kid Sherlock. It's a pretty sharp change.
Yeah. Well, I ran from the cartoony style for a long time because I kind of idolized guys who drew in a more realistic way. And I don't know if it rings true for like other artists, but a lot of times you can think of cartoony as almost like dumbed down or not as good.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Cartoony to me, it just comes naturally. So I was like, well, I don't want to do that. Like I want to draw like these guys. And I just kept forcing like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be this kind of artist and I'm going to draw this way. And I was just kind of running from what was naturally coming out of me, you know? So when Justin, the writer of Kid Sherlock, approached me and said that that was the style he wanted, I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. And it was like such an easy fit. It took a lot of practice because I hadn't drawn that way in a long time. And you can see from issue 1 to 4, like I get much more comfortable by the 4th issue in that style.
Okay.
But yeah, as far as the original goes, like it's funny as an artist, you kind of start to find yourself and like take the things that you admire from other artists and then blend them with what you're naturally good at.
Yeah.
And your own style starts to develop. I mean, it's important to learn human anatomy and do it well. You know, you want it to be convincing, but at the same time, like you want to be able to put your own personality in there too. So with this last issue of the original, I feel really comfortable now like it's not so much of a struggle. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
yeah.
I don't know, I'm becoming more comfortable in my own skin as an artist. You know, I think it's starting to
Yeah.
show a little bit more.
So between the two styles right now, do you feel comfortable?
Say one more time. I missed you. You froze up on me again. Sorry.
Okay. Between the two styles, do you feel comfortable going back and forth, or do you feel like you're still forcing one style?
Well, with Kid Sherlock, I drew that book for the majority of a year, so now it's kind of like riding a bike. I mean, I got so comfortable drawing those two kids where it's like I don't even really have to think about it too much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Justin had them in settings where they're running or fighting or getting hit in the face or crying or happy, you know, so I got to draw this like wide range of emotion and action. So it was like,
Yeah.
I don't really struggle with that too much anymore, but leaving that and going to the original, I was kind of shocked at how much it benefited my drawing for the original, even though the styles are totally different.
Oh, really?
Um, like your muscle memory, like when you, I use a brush when I ink. So it's funny how those two things, even though the styles are different, your hand is trained, you know, with the way you're drawing strokes.
Yeah.
So when I went over to that, it was just kind of the same fluid motion, and I can see where some of the lines are similar, where it's like, oh, that kind of bled over from one thing into another. Where I was drawing the original with a pen for a long time, so the line weights are different now. That's, I don't think anybody would ever notice that. That's kind of like a geeky artist thing where it's like, yeah, I pick up on that just because I do it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Working on Kid Sherlock was such a beneficial thing because I had to draw so many different settings and backgrounds and like playground equipment and rows of desks and books and, you know, like there was some nights, yeah, there was some nights I was at this drawing table just wanting to tear my hair out because it was like, I have to draw all these chairs and like, you know, because you have to make it a convincing classroom setting with like and all that stuff. And perspective is not a strong suit of mine. So, you know, it's kind of laborious. So, like when I was done with that and went back to the original, I had practiced, you know, so it was like, okay, this isn't as hard as it was when I first started.
All right. So you have felt growth from just drawing the issues.
Yeah, and it's not really apparent until you back away from it, because when you're deep into it, you're just too close to it, you know, and like everything looks like crap to you. And I'm extremely self-conscious and hard on myself as far as like the consistency and quality of my art. So it's, well, I'm drawing those things day in and day out. As soon as I finish a page, I'm just like, I could have done that, or I could have done that better, or, you know, whatever. But at the end, once I like had a couple months away from it to where I could look at it with fresh eyes, it was like, oh, yeah, this isn't so bad. Like, you know, I really progressed from one to the next, you know?
Yeah, totally.
So it's
really kind of a testament to the idea of finished, not perfect, right?
Yeah. That's a hard thing to put into practice, though. You know, like when you're doing it, obviously you want it to be fantastic.
Right.
Excuse me. And you want it to be really good. But you also have to, there's a goal in sight that you have to meet. So, you know, finishing it, man, when I saw that giant stack of pages when I was done, I just was like, oh, God, I can't believe I did this. Like it was a great feeling. It was really, really cool.
Well, so, all right, well, I'm going to shift up a little bit here. You have 3 children.
Yes, I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
So good Lord. So I feel like it's kind of important to talk about that and that impact on you as an artist, or on specifically on getting work done
Mm,
and submitted.
yeah. You have to just basically use your time when you can get it. Because especially since they're so small and it's like they're still developing, like you don't really want your work or your desire or passion to overshadow like all this beautiful stuff that's happening every day, you know? Um, and if I'm being honest, like there's times when I've been too self-indulgent and, I might have missed things.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, raising kids is so rewarding. It's amazing. It's really beautiful, but man, woo, it's hard. Especially,
Well, you're definitely not alone on the self-indulgent part. I know for me, it's hard when I'm focused. It's hard for me to unsnap and to focus on something else.
man, that's got to be the hardest thing when if there's any other artists watching this, and I know you can attest to this, is like when you get into a flow and that gets broken, you can't. It's not like a light switch. You can't just turn that back on. Like it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just you're like inking and you're like, man, I'm just killing it. Like everything is just like, oh, this is great. And then somebody pooped their pants. Yeah. Oh.
Hopefully not you.
No, not yet.
Right, don't do it live or anything. Yeah, absolutely. That I understand that absolutely.
Yeah. So for KID Sherlock in particular, I had to do all those pages really late at night. Like I was up till sometimes 2 a.m. inking because I was trying to hold myself to a page a day.
Yeah.
Just to make sure I was on schedule, and it was like a personal challenge to myself just to see if I could do it. Yeah. And it's hard. And I wasn't really being fair to myself because I was kind of using other people with different circumstances as an example of what I should be doing. So it's like,
what do you mean?
Like I kind of idolize like different professional artists or like somebody like Ramon, who you had on, and he just doesn't have the same circumstances as I do. So he can, he can go faster. He's obviously a lot better than I am, and he's more practiced. He's had a lot more practice at it.
Yeah.
And that was like a big source of self-inflicted discouragement, where it was like, man, I should be doing that. I should be that guy. So I would push myself really, really hard. When looking back, it's like, that wasn't really necessary. Like, I have 3 children and a wife, and I have a day job. Like I work from home, which is also an art-related job, which I'm very fortunate to have. But it's it's like, if I don't know if we'll get into like an advice area of the discussion tonight, but that is something that if I could impart any sort of wisdom, that's like, just like don't compare to other people's circumstances, like just do you and be genuine to what you do,
So that's great advice. Unfortunately, you are now one of the people I compare myself to.
Oh.
Once I saw that you posted that stack of pages.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Like, I have 2 kids. This guy has 3 kids.
Yeah.
And he just busted out this incredible amount of work for a published comic for a legitimate company.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of beating myself up pretty hard, just so you know. So how dare you? Really, how dare you?
Don't do that. That stack of pages, it weighed 9 pounds. I went and weighed it. I had to.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing though. Like I've done, let's see, I did 2 or 3 comics before I even got picked up by Action Lab. So you have 1 under your belt. You're actually further ahead of where I was in your career. So
How's that?
well, you have a comic already out, right? So what I do is I compare myself.
But it's not published. It's just something I self-published.
Well, yeah, none of my other stuff was. I
Right.
mean, it was self-published, you know. So that's the thing is like you kind of have to do it on your own for a little while before anybody takes notice or before somebody goes, "Oh, I see what you're doing there. Let's work together." You know. And yours is full color. It's like much cleaner, much better looking than my first one. Much better looking. So that's what I mean.
Thank you.
You're further ahead than I was when I started. And I actually I look at your Instagram quite a bit because you're coloring. You know, I'm not a good colorist at all. I tend to be, I don't know, a little bit more flat and subdued, kind of restrained a little bit. And your colors, I notice like you always push it. You're always doing more, you know. I really like that. I admire that a lot.
That is an area that I've focused on because I'm realizing how important that is to the completed piece is to be able to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to sell a black and white comic.
Yeah, right.
Especially a poorly drawn one.
Well, Frank Miller's going to do all right with that.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's.
But he's Frank Miller, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things. There's one thing, at least, that you left out from your short bio. Tell us about Jimmy Olsen in DC.
Oh yeah. So that's kind of a funny story, which will lead into more advice on what not to do. So I was very ambitious and like kind of overselling my my skill set at that point. Like I had thought, okay, I've been at this for a while and I need to start making money. Like I need to turn this into something. So I was practicing like crazy and just kind of going through Instagram and hitting up different writers from comics that I like or people that I enjoyed their style of writing. And I was really into the Batman 66 comic book because I grew up watching that show. So that, you know, when they put out that book, I was like, oh, this is perfect. This is for me.
It is, yeah. That's a natural fit for you, yeah.
Yeah, and I hit up Jeff Parker, which he was very kind. He turned me down very nice. Hopefully one day I'll get to meet him at a convention or something. 'Cause I would love to tell him and be like, man, you were so nice to me. You could have totally destroyed me. Because I sent him a piece that I thought was super cool. And I was like, hey man, I want to work on Batman 66 and I really love your writing. Check this out. And it was just not up to snuff. And
really?
Yeah, I mean it looked cool. Somebody bought it from me. They wanted it. So I sent it to him and he was very kind. He was like, hey, I see what you're doing. You might want to work on this, this, and this. And then he gave me a Batman 66 script. It was one that was published a few months prior. And he said, if you want to work with me, here's a script of mine. Draw this. And I was like, rad, awesome. And I can't remember exactly how it worked out, but in that time, I hit up Gabe Soria, who was doing the backup stories for those issues. And that guy is wild. Like I think he might be a creative genius. Like the stuff that he comes up with is just really cool. I love it. It's like right up my alley. And he had this idea for Jimmy Olsen to revive the Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen from the 60s. And he wanted to do it in the style of Adventure Time. So he was like, hey, check this out. You know, come up with some character designs and we'll throw something together. And I did it. And then he was like, okay, here's a short story, illustrate it. Let's find a colorist, and then we'll pitch it. I know the editor. He'll probably like it. And I did it. We did a 10-page story.
Oh, I found it. I'm gonna post a cover for it. I found it on I was looking through your Instagram feed.
Oh, right on. Okay. There's two covers. I don't. There's one with like a big robot, and then one with Swamp Thing.
Okay. Let's see here.
Yeah. So that's the first one. That's the cover for the first issue. And that story was really fun.
Okay.
And so probably it actually made it pretty far. Like if you go up, well, that guy's name is actually Jimmy Olsen.
It made it pretty far? What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know where the other cover is up there, but you'll probably find it eventually.
Pretty far?
Yeah, so it made it to a senior editor over at DC, and it was right around the time where DC was doing like a big relaunch of all their titles.
Okay.
And they said, well, we'll bring it to the table for consideration. Yeah, that's one of the first character designs right there.
Nice.
He said, we'll bring it to the table for new product, and we'll see what everybody thinks. And that was about as far as it got.
Wow.
But in the meantime, there was oh yeah, there it is. That's the second cover. Unfortunately,
so in the meantime, what?
In the meantime, like it got circulated. So like, I think Paul Pope saw it and he reached out. He like sent me a message. He's like, "Hey, I really like that story you did." And Paul Pope is like a legend. He's so tight. So to get a message from him, he's like, "Hey, I like your art. I like that story you did." I was like, "Holy crap!" Yeah. So like Paul Pope and Mike Allred, and there was a few people that dug it, and so I got really hopeful. I was like, okay, this is going to be the one, And if you go back and look at those pages, the raw material is there. It could be something, but at the time, I don't think I was where I needed to be as an artist to really like sell that,
Okay.
It was close. I mean, it got way farther than it ever should have. I'll just put it.
Yeah, you're selling yourself kind of short. I mean, you made it that far, and some big names took it seriously.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was encouraging. It was not it didn't take the wind out of my sails for sure when it was like, it was cool, but we're not gonna pursue this. It was like, I'm surprised these people even saw it,
Right, no, totally.
So I really am thankful to Gabe that he took a chance on me and let me do that. And he and I mean, we're still in contact, and, we've got plans to work on other stuff together. It's just, I have other things I need to finish first before I can do those.
That's great. So we have a few people viewing. I want to let them know that if you guys have a question, just type it in the chat, and I will ask Sean.
Sure. Hey, everybody.
Yeah. So the story, and it's like you just kind of took a chance.
You know what it was? I literally messaged him on Instagram. I started following him, Gabe, the writer, and then he followed me back. And I sent him a message and was like, "Hey, man, I like your stories. I want to work with you on something." And I didn't hear from him for a long time. And I think he was just kind of like feeling me out. Like, who is this guy? What's he all about? I didn't get any reply. And then just one day he shot me a message back and he was like, "Yeah, I've been looking at your stuff. Let's do something." And then he sent me like a ton of, his first email had a bunch of PDFs for stories that he had in mind. And the Jimmy Olsen thing, immediately, I was like, That's it. I know that book.
Yeah.
I want that one.
Dude, it's a crazy story. And I'm thinking about the people I've interviewed already and kind of their experience with professionals and whatnot. So, like Ramon, he got really discovered through Tumblr, right?
Yeah, he blew up pretty big on Tumblr. Yeah.
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 You're talking about simply emailing, not even email. It was through Instagram,
Yeah.
and that snowballed into something, and it got pretty damn far.
It did. It got really far. Yeah, there's a couple editors that I've had interaction with, but it's like when you look back and see what you actually sent them and then compare it to where you're at now, it's like, oh, I get it. I understand why they didn't move on this, So it's not a source of embarrassment. It's a learning process. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Right.
I at least showed that I can pace a story. I know how to put a comic together from start to finish.
Completely.
Yeah, it's a done deal. And I designed the characters from top to bottom, and it looked cool. It was marketable. People bought the prints and stuff. That they enjoyed it.
Totally. In the last guy, well, not the last guy. Yeah, Bob Cube. I interviewed him last, and he got his first comic through simply drawing. He found a new character he liked, I believe it was. He drew the character and sent it to the writer, and the writer liked it, and they ended up working on something.
Oh, that's cool.
But it was just like they just took a chance and put it out there, and it's like in my mind, I'm assuming these people are flooded with crap, people saying I want to work with you, and well, kind of like you did, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming they're just flooded with stuff, and they don't have the time, energy, or interest to respond, and so we just don't try. And you're saying you just did it.
Yeah, well, if you want to go back even further, my very first comic that I put out, the original #1, I contacted Paulo Rivera because I knew that I wanted to do an original graphic novel. I knew I wanted to collect it in that format. So I was like, I want to have a really good cover artist. And I emailed a few other people. Most of them either didn't have time or just never replied. And he was the one guy, like, he was my favorite artist. So he was last on my list. I was like, okay.
Wow.
He'll be the last guy I contact because he's my favorite and he's probably the biggest name that I knew of at the time. So I contacted him and was like, hey, would you do a cover for my book? And he said yes.
Wow.
I was like, really? Because I was so used to being turned down, and I thought, oh, this guy's way too big for me. And then he said yes, and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So that really set the tone for the rest of the interactions that I had for everybody else. Because it was like, hey, if Paulo Rivera's gonna say, right, I'm just gonna email everybody.
I know there's, like, for issue 2 of my book, there's a couple artists that I wanted to ask, like, hey, would you mind doing a variant cover? But I don't.
Right.
But I need to, apparently. Like, why not, right?
Well, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Right.
They say no, and you didn't lose anything. It's like whatever, But yeah, that really kind of set the bar for me.
Wow.
So I've never been shy about contacting people, and you're right. They do probably get inundated with garbage. It's my garbage, but they go to conventions and they have people like come up and say, hey, can you review my portfolio, and can you take a look at this, or what do you think about that? And I don't, I'd be interested to know how many people actually get hired right there based on a portfolio review. I'm sure it's pretty low.
Yeah, right.
But Yeah, I think in the case with Paulo, is he probably saw that I was willing to put out the effort, and I had a book, maybe two at that point under my belt, and he was like, okay, you know, I see that he's working, so you know, I'll help him out, sort of thing. Or who knows, he might have been like, well, you know, he's paying me, it might not go anywhere, but at least I got paid. I don't know.
Well, whatever the reason, like it was worth asking, and you got incredible artwork.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite. I mean, I've got it hanging up back there behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I have your Spider-Man right here.
Oh yeah, right on. Cool.
Yeah, that's your. I got that from you. I think at Stockton Con, so it's behind my head. But
Yeah.
Ramon up here just says local people that have gotten a little bit further or a lot further than I have. It's a good inspiration.
Yeah, just keep in mind though, like you are doing much better than I was. Like if you were to do like a timeline, you're ahead of me, so you're fine.
Now I just need to get past my own nerves and maybe reach out to people.
Yeah, but you know, I think it well, Ramon will even tell you in his experience, like he got picked up doing mostly like pinups, you know.
Yeah,
I
right.
think he had maybe one issue or under his belt, and he had done like a few like little ash can type stuff, but as far as like sequential work, I don't think he had too much. His style is just so cool, and his designs are so cool that you know he got hired based off of that.
Yeah, he said he has. It's called Clean Line, and there's like 4 people that do it. That get published work. So he fits this very rare niche, I guess.
Yeah. But I think it's really, really important to have at least one or two comics under your belt, especially if you've written and drawn them yourself.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes as to like if you can do the work or not. Because a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, you know, I draw comics, or I want to draw comics," and they do like head sketches and pinup style stuff, even if it's full body. But like comics is just so much more than posing and fighting. Like with Kid Sherlock, like there's a lot of boring panels. You know, you've got to like you have to just draw people talking sometimes, and it's like, oh, this kind of sucks. I don't like drawing this, but I mean, it's not all action and running around and jumping, you know?
Right. No, yeah, totally.
If you can draw a comic book where you're like conveying a story and emotion with people not doing a lot, I think that's harder to do than somebody punching another guy in the face.
It really is.
So yeah, you're definitely on the right track. I mean, you know, you're writing your own stuff, and it's hard.
It's the writing part has been a ton of fun. There's I think about it constantly, so I keep finding like plot holes and stuff. That's difficult to tidy everything up.
Yeah.
But the overarching plot of it and whatnot is just it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Like doing the pinups and stuff I've been doing for years. It's cool and all, but I didn't realize how much of me like creating a world, you know?
Yeah.
And characters and backgrounds and emotion and that creation is just like it unlocks something inside of me. I'm having so much fun doing it.
Yeah, it's really cool. I know exactly what you're talking about.
All right.
That's why that's why it's taken me so long to finish the original. Because when I started, I had no idea what I was doing. Like I didn't know how to draw, I didn't know how to write. So it was like I came up with this big story, and the further along I got, I was like, wow, I don't really know how to write. So I've had to work backwards and, you know, kind of like regroup and go, okay, this is the story I want to tell. Let's kind of streamline this thing. And now I feel comfortable finishing it because I'm a bit more practiced now as far as like writing.
Yeah.
I'm still not a strong writer, but you know, at least I'll feel better sending it out into the world now.
Yeah. All right, we only have like 20 minutes left, and there's a couple of things I really want to touch upon with you.
Sure.
All right. So your style, I mean, I'll keep flipping through it, but it's golden age heavy influence, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring it up as you talk, but talk to us about this style and what draws you to it.
That's a good question. I mean, I think it was partially because that was what was given to me when I was growing up.
Okay.
So, you're probably not going to see too much reflected in that. That's pretty old.
Yeah, it's pretty deep in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's some of the Jimmy Olsen stuff. You could see some Jack Kirby influence.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it you'll see in that feed there. Maybe the more recent stuff you'll see it kind of develop a little more.
Let's go from the top.
Yeah. Okay. So like that. Maybe up there. Yeah, there you go. It's a little bit more retro.
Yeah. Oh, very much. Yeah. Well, this is probably a time. You know, this is a period piece, right? You know, it's like this was taking place in a certain moment in history, I'm guessing.
Yeah, like the 50s.
Fashion sense was still in vogue.
Right. Right.
But you seem naturally drawn to this era and this look.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I was thinking about that today because I thought maybe you might ask me a question related to that, and I thought, why do I like that stuff so much? And I think it's because I'm just out of touch with what with what is current like now or what's trendy now. I just don't have time. Like I have.
But this is like decades ago, dude.
Say again?
This is decades ago. You weren't alive back then. You can't be.
Yeah, but it's easier to look backwards. You know, like it's already laid out for you. And there's a lot about the 50s and 60s design that I just really like. A lot of things, especially with the cartoons, had kind of like a very angular look to them, or there was, especially with like mid-century modern design, very symmetrical. That kind of stuff just speaks to me. I like that a lot.
Well, I would think, I know when it comes to, so mine unfortunately takes place in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to think, and it's not possible. I can't think outside of my own timeline, you know? So when you pick 50s and 60s, like it's there, you know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what draws you to it?
Yeah, you know, like future stuff, that doesn't really bother me too much. I really like that, like the sci-fi element. I like that kind of stuff. With the 50s and 60s, everything just was very clean and simple.
Yeah.
Even in the advertising art and that kind of stuff, I don't know, I just like it. But as far as like to bring it full circle to the golden age look that I try to recreate, or even like the Silver Age stuff, it might just be because that was the stuff that was given to me. Because you got to remember, like in the 90s, like everything was very like X-Men. A lot of those guys were leaving to do Image titles, which were a little bit more violent and edgy, and I was still kind of young, so my parents didn't really let me look at that stuff. So, you know, I was given like old Neil Adams Batman, or like Carmine Infantino Batman, Jack Kirby, Fantastic Four, stuff like that. So that really kind of shaped my taste growing up, because that's just what I thought comics were, you know. And I don't know, it's just something about the way that, you know, they all inked with a brush, so that those lines were a lot thicker and had a lot of character to them. And especially like with John Byrne's X-Men, which isn't Golden Age, but just the way that he drew it, like they just looked so tangible on the page, even though it's like two-dimensional images. just the way that he used his lines, everything looked like you could just peel it off the page, you know? It looked great. I loved it. So that's kind of why I tried to emulate it.
So just stylistically, you're drawn just to that simplistic, clean line kind of look. Not clean line like Ramon, but
yeah, like Jack Kirby had just such bold line work, and
yeah.
like his characters were just so extreme and exaggerated, and it didn't matter that the anatomy was weird. It, like, the emotion and the dynamics of what he was drawing spoke louder than any sort of like formal drawing, like, oh well, you know, an elbow doesn't actually bend that way. It's like, who cares? Like, he's expressing something, you know, it's expressive anatomy, you know. So that stuff just kind of spoke to me. And if you think about it, that stuff is a little bit more cartoony, especially if you look at John Romita Sr. Spider-Man. That has a very cartoony look to it, and that again speaks to what is a little bit more natural to me, you know. So I think that's why I've kind of always kind of taken that slant.
I'm gonna look that up. John Romita Sr. Spider-Man, just so we have a reference visually here. So let's push this one step further. Can contemporary artists from this more vintage kind of look?
Yeah, there you go. What can they learn? I don't know if I'm the authority on this. I don't feel qualified to answer the question, but
there we go. Now everyone's seeing it. But what is there anything that, you know, like my style is vastly different from yours, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So what is there anything that you enjoy, or any pieces of this style or look that I could benefit from, or people that draw more graffiti style or anime style, like with those kind of influences, like what from this stuff?
I just like how smooth everything looks. I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know how to answer that. Like, I don't feel qualified to answer it, but I do think, like, okay, for the Spider-Man stuff we just looked at, for instance, like that is just so iconic. Like, when I think Spider-Man, I don't think Todd McFarlane. I don't think what's the guy, Humberto Ramos. I always think John Romita. Partially because he did such a big run on it, but that is the iconic Spider-Man to me. Like, it just, I don't know, it's just so beautiful. Like, it's cartoony, but it does have a sense of realism to it. Like, there's weight. Like, he knew how to distribute a character's weight, and he had an understanding of, you know, the human body and how it moves and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I just love it. Like
just that visual impact.
Yeah, and okay, here's something. Like, it's not over-rendered. Like, you'll see a lot of guys just real crazy with the lines. You know, they'll, like, whether it be cross-hatching or shading or whatever. Like, they just – what I like about his style is that it allows the reader to kind of use their imagination too. Like, when you have that hyper-realistic or photorealism, like, it just is what it is. Like, you can't really interject or like project your own imagination onto it. You know, like, your mind isn't filling in any gaps. It's like, it's just there. That I don't know.
That was a great answer. We got there. That had a lot of depth to it. There you go.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I just like it because it's not overdone.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. We got 10 minutes on. Oh man. Cool. Planning out my talk with you, because I mean, we talked beforehand, but it was difficult because there's a lot we could cover.
Well, I got time. We
So
can go beyond 10 minutes if you want. I don't know what your schedule's
now
like.
I try and keep these to an hour. I'm gonna stick to my structure.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Actually, no. I think I asked you the main stuff that I wanted to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
So just how about just in? Oh, here you go. So last thing, you early on when I started like Instagram and I don't know I don't know how deep in Instagram I was at the time, but you remember emailing me and like offering me tips and books to read and
I
stuff.
probably wasn't qualified to offer any advice at that time.
But do you remember that?
Yeah, kind of vaguely. That's been like
Like you just went out of your way, just and I don't. There was no reason for it. Like you were kind enough to say, hey, you know, this is your. You kind of like said, you know, you're doing a lot of busts. That's great. But you kind of challenged me to take the next step of like panel in particular.
uh,
All right. What any? Well, that was for me, right? Which I again, like I really appreciate that. Still, I still.
You know what?
I think you're one of the first.
I remember why
Huh?
at the time Ramon was kind of helping me, and we were looking at people in the Stockton area that were doing comics too. So it was like we knew who you were, and we're like, that guy's on our team. Like it's Team Stockton. You know, like this is the only other guy that we know that's doing this kind of stuff. So it was like, yeah, let's get him.
Oh, that's funny.
That's the way I remember it. It could be wrong, but yeah, I think that's.
Oh, I didn't even, and I had no idea that there was a Team Stockton that was developing, and I was perhaps being groomed for it.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, there's really not a lot of people doing it. I mean,
here, yeah, no,
yeah, not here. So there's like a pride involved, where it's like, oh shoot, there's another guy that wants to do it. Like, yeah, this could be. We could have like a scene here, you know.
I've totally thought of that too. That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well, anyhow,
sorry. What I cut.
What any general tips as far as drawing or books that for the people watching?
Yes. This I'm. It shows up backwards like a mirror on my screen. I don't know if
it looks okay to me. I think we're all right. It's called Steal Like an Artist.
Yeah, and this book does not advocate plagiarism, despite what the title would lead you to believe. But it's probably the single most influential book on me that I've read, and it's a quick read too, and it is all about basically learning from the people that you idolize by taking what they do and then adapting it to your own style. For me, that book has been invaluable. I love that book. And then he has a one that, if I don't have it with me, but it's called Show Your Work, which is very difficult to do when you're starting out, just because you know, it's like, I don't know if this is good, and then you kind of keep it to yourself. But that book was really encouraging for me to kind of start showing stuff, taking risks. And then I have a collection. Hopefully my stack of books doesn't fall over when I do this, but okay. Figure drawing for all it's worth. That's the Andrew Loomis. This is the old edition. They have a nice hardback one now, but this is all, you know, like real figure drawing. It's not cartooning or anything like that. And I got one more. You'd be hard pressed to find a better cartooning book. I think I found this for like $1 on Amazon or something. This thing is fantastic. This is like my cartooning Bible. I look at that all the time.
Okay.
But yeah, like when I was first starting out, you kind of think that all these people just naturally know how to draw everything. So it's like,
right.
You know, I don't want people to know that I look at books and I have to reference photos and stuff like that. But like you have to, you know, unless you just have one of those like photographic memories where you can just see something once and recreate it. Yeah, Paulo Rivera gave me the best advice. He was like, use photo reference, take photos of yourself, and then draw what you see. And I have a drawer of props and stuff. Like I showed you this earlier, but this like cheap, hokey little squirt gun. You know, I'll take photos with my iPhone and then draw my hand holding the gun, or, you know, posing, stuff like that. And it gives you, like, you can see in the camera, like the perspective that it makes. You know, if you just draw that, you know, then you've got a gun in real life perspective, you know.
There you go.
I don't know. It gives you an excuse to buy toys too.
Well, I appreciate the books and the tips. I definitely want to talk with you again specifically about Artist Alley convention stuff.
Boy, that's a whole nother conversation, man.
That would be a really fun conversation. I want to get you and a couple other people, like a round table kind of, you know, how to make money, how to get your stuff noticed, stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. You know, I won't get into too much depth, okay? But
not right now. Yeah, not right now.
Yeah, not right now.
No.
I will say the last few con experiences I've had have been slightly soul crushing. Just because, yeah, I don't really do well at conventions. I do the majority of my sales like when I do in-store signings and stuff like that. Conventions are not a moneymaker for me. So I might have a little bit more of a jaded take on it. Especially the last I did. I had a very annoying table neighbor.
I think I heard that story on your podcast, right?
You might have, yeah.
It was like a karate guy or something like that?
Yeah, he was an interesting guy.
Yeah.
Nice guy, but just, you know.
So, well, that'll be an interesting perspective then for our roundtable. But I definitely want to get that. I think that'll be like a really fun discussion, and I think there's a need and an interest for something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. All right. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to say?
Yes. If there's anybody who wants to do comics for a living or even a hobby, the single most important thing for me has been remaining humble. Like it will keep you from overselling your ability, which I have done at times. But if you're humble, like, you will take criticism really, really well. Most
that, you know what, that was a big thing you did for me. Like, you were the first person to in those emails to offer me criticism, me to ask for criticism when I posted stuff.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that, and it stung. At first, it stung like crazy, but then it just became normal, and it was like I was able to take it in and grow from it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is like if you can get past that, I think that might even be the first hurdle, you know, because when you start out, it's like everything's great, I'm crushing it, everything looks cool, and you show it to your friends and family, and they're like, "Oh, great, good job, honey," you know. But when you start showing it to people who actually are going to spend their money on it, they're like, "This isn't that good." Then, like, that can totally humiliate you, and you'll never do it again. And if you can stay humble, it will allow you to take the criticism and own it, and then make the needed adjustments and grow. So, yeah, if there's any one thing that anybody takes away from this conversation, it's just be humble, because, like, if you can do that, you'll be willing to learn. Like, and it will endear you to people. Like, people really like that. So if you have somebody that you idolize or you really like, if you're humble and you ask for help, they're going to give it to you, because they see it. It's like, okay, this guy's willing to learn. I'll help him out.
a great final thought. All right, man. Let's stop it there. All right.
Cool.
For being a part of this, it was a lot of fun talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really admire the first three guys that you had on. So when you asked me, I was like, wow, okay. I feel like
Yeah.
out of my depth a little bit, but
No, man. This was extremely beneficial, I think, to anyone watching it. You definitely have a lot to offer, and I appreciate your thoughts.
cool. Thank you. Well, June, keep an eye out for KID SHERLOCK. It'll be in stores.
All right, man. All right. We'll end it there. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks.